So as I said before, this gentleman's comments, obviously I want to take you to take as applicable to ladies and men. He obviously does a lot of work amongst men. But one thing he does do, I think, is he really tries to say what he believes. There's so much nonsense going on in relationships where people are holding on and dating people that are clearly not dating material or going to be marriage material. What I like about him, even though I don't agree with everything he says, he at least tries to say things as he perceives them to be.
You've got a guy thinking, okay, all right, I guess I'm a man and nobody else is going to care about my happiness. I'll just care about my own. Wait, what? I'm not even allowed to do that. Otherwise, I'm called greedy and selfish. I'm just expected to look after other people. I'm not meant to think about myself, or I'm just self-involved. These are the kind of toxic slurs that your ex-girlfriend used to throw at you because she wanted you to feel guilty. Because when you feel guilt, you're easier to manipulate. You're more easily controlled. And a low-quality woman really doesn't want you to value your own happiness, because otherwise, your self-esteem might rise too high, and then you're going to realize that she's a toxic, low-quality woman, that you're too good for her, and you're going to leave her. Do you see? She has a vested interest in making sure you don't believe that your happiness is worth very much. She doesn't want you to think that your happiness is important. That's how you can tell that she's a low-quality woman, because high-quality women are not like that. A high-quality woman is confident that even if you have very high self-esteem, that you place a high value on your own happiness, you're not going to leave her because you're just going to be able to better appreciate how amazing she is. She's not threatened by your good qualities. High-quality women love a powerful demonstration of self-esteem from men. They find it very attractive. A man comes into her presence and everything about him just emanates that he is important. She'll love it. He's not some loser waiting around for somebody else, some woman to come along and rescue him. He's not looking for a surrogate mother. He doesn't have that de facto codependent mindset just lying in wait for the perfect woman to come along and be his missing half. No, he's confident. He's responsible, he's independent, and that's what women want. They do not want to mother their boyfriends. Women are just not wired that way. They expect men to take care of them. They don't expect to take care of men. This is one of the things that women are always testing for in the first couple of dates. Like, you're having a conversation with her and you'll notice that she's just scanning you, scanning your facial expressions, scanning your responses, and what she's looking for are any signs of neediness. If you come across as somebody who needs to be rescued, she's not going to be attracted to you. She wants to see independence, confidence, competence. She wants to see that you understand that your life is valuable. To put it very simply, women desire men who don't need anything from them. I'll say that again so it really sinks in. Women desire men who don't need anything from them. But the point that I want to make in this video is that it's not just you being happy that's important. Like, if you just sort of accidentally stumble into some blissful stupor, that's not necessarily going to be hugely attractive to women, as opposed to a man who has consciously identified that his happiness is important and then taken dedicated steps to realize that happiness. Contrary to the advice that most men have been given in this culture, women would actually prefer that you place a higher value on your own happiness than hers. Hopefully you've realized that women are absolutely sick of this simping epidemic that we're in the middle of. They find these kinds of men disgusting, the kinds that constantly pay them compliments, do them favors, that just sort of orbit around them as backup boyfriends, constantly reinforcing this message that as men, they're lowly, their time's not valuable, their money's not valuable, anything that they can sacrifice to the woman's happiness is justified because women are so special and unique and angelic. Women hate that. And you know why? It's because deep down, they know that it's not true. Women know themselves. Women know other women, and they know that they're not special, that they're not unique, that they're not angelic. They're flawed human beings like the rest of us. And all these guys who are pretending that that's not the case, elevating and pedestalizing these women, it's simply reinforcing that those men are clueless, that they have no social calibration, that they have no self-respect, no self-esteem. It just comes across as desperate that these men are willingly blinding themselves to the reality of the character of the woman that they're chasing, and makes it obvious what their agenda is. These are guys that are just interested in sex, or just interested in being rescued by some surrogate mother. Whether it's sexual or emotional, the women sense the amount of need coming from these men, and they find it disgusting. Ask any woman this question: which man would you feel more comfortable around. The man who says, I'm not important, my happiness is nothing. It's just something to be dismissed. The only thing that matters is whether you're happy. I'm telling you, the overwhelming majority of women would rather you think first about your own happiness and her happiness second, because women are attracted to men who value themselves. If you plan a date that's based around your interests, things that you enjoy, she's going to find that really exciting and enjoyable. She's going to enjoy going on an adventure with you, seeing you in your element. She'll love learning about your passions and your interests and getting a sneak peek into the world that is you. What she's not going to enjoy is you just focusing intensely on her, what makes her happy. What do you like? What do you want to do next? Oh, don't worry about me. I just want to make sure you're happy. Women hate that. It's weird. It's creepy. Take the focus off of her and put the focus on yourself. Aren't you important? Don't you deserve happiness? And if you do, why aren't you treating yourself that way? Because this isn't just something to practice during dating or relationships. It's about how you relate to yourself as an individual. Do you live your life as though your time is valuable? I'll give you a couple of examples from my own life. I don't eat bad food, ever. Every single meal that I prepare takes time. I use quality ingredients because food is a huge part of my enjoyment of life. Yeah, it takes more time to prepare and it's more expensive, and I could always just get some frozen microwave meal or something like that. But no, my happiness is important, and I reinforce that to myself every single mealtime. Also, I don't watch any TV shows or movies unless they have a very high rating on IMDb. When it comes to media consumption, I only want to watch the best of the best. My time is too valuable to spend on terrible media, and the same goes for books. Unless it has at least a 4 rating on Goodreads, I don't read it. I also don't like to spend any time around ugliness because for me, beauty creates happiness. And so I live in a nice house. I live in a rainforest. My furniture is nice. My couch is comfy. I live in a small little tourist town with beautiful forests and beaches and farmlands. I like being surrounded by beauty. In every area of my life, the decisions that I make reinforce that my happiness is important. I quit jobs that I wasn't enjoying. I ended friendships that were no longer interesting to me.
Sorry for the background noise, but I think one of the reasons people think that might be quite mean to say that I end friendships that are, now we may see this in a Christian view, that are bad for me or not for my calling. They say that's rude and nasty, but the actual fact is they are the nasty ones and they are the unloving ones because they don't have any standards. They don't have any standards to tell someone, look, you are behaving in a wrong way. I have standards for people in my life, so if you don't behave properly, you and I cannot walk apart anymore. Say now in dating relationships. They also put people above God in their lives, because if you cared for your calling and what God has placed on your life, your future, you would know, as happened many times in the Bible, where God instructed people to end relationships, to move away, to leave people groups. So they hide this under auspices, oh, they're kind and loving, so they can't do this. The problem, it's the opposite. They care less for God and the calling on their life, so they stay with people who actually don't care really about anything about God, or are actually doing a lot of the devil's work, and they say it's because they care for people and they're loving. In fact, they don't care for anyone and they're not loving.
One of the most consistent pieces of feedback that I've gotten from the people who know me in my personal life is that I make them nervous. Sometimes being in my presence can be a nerve-wracking experience because they can sense that I place a huge value on my own time. That makes people feel a certain amount of pressure being around me, and I'm okay with that. It's not intentional. That's not why I am the way that I am, but at the same time, it's not my job to make sure that people feel comfortable in my presence. If you're going to occupy my time, it better be for something good. I'm not talking about a selfish, exploitative happiness, about using other people for my own selfish gain. I'm talking about an inner value, a satisfaction, a contentment, a self-esteem. I even extend this to my online life. Like, I pay for things like Spotify and YouTube Premium because I don't want to listen to the ads. I consider my mind space to be too valuable. I don't want to be listening to an amazing playlist or an incredible podcast and then suddenly have like some toxic, cheesy, buy more stuff consumerism thing come in the middle of that. Every time that I spend money online or in the real world, it's to reinforce to myself that I'm important, that my happiness is important, because you value yourself. You recognize that this is important. To turn the mirror back on you now, are you living your life as an individual in such a way that reinforces to yourself that your time is important, that your money is important? Are you spending your time on things that improve your life, that make you happy? Are you spending your money on things that are going to benefit you? Or are you wasting your time? Are you wasting your money? Are you constantly reinforcing the message to yourself that you don't matter, that you don't count? Because if that's the message that you're giving to yourself, I guarantee that is the message that you're broadcasting to women. Women are attracted to men who treat their own happiness as important. And they're likely to just follow suit, to fall into your frame. If you treat your happiness as very important, then she will treat your happiness as important. So if you don't want to be taken for granted by women, stop taking yourself for granted. Please stop treating her happiness as though it's more important than yours. You're not doing yourself or her any favors. You're coming across as a loser, and women want to date winners. You've probably seen people say this in my comment section. It's one of those manosphere phrases that if you treat a woman like a celebrity, she's going to treat you like a fan. It's 100% true. Stop it. Cut it out right now. Start treating yourself like you're a celebrity. Your happiness is important. You need to know that deep inside your mind and start acting that way. One of the bonuses of having that mindset, having that value system, is that it's going to prevent you from being suckered into a toxic relationship with a low quality woman.
Yes, and for the ladies, you will be suckered into a low quality relationship with someone who is of low quality in relationships. Now, I'm not talking about a person that's worthless. In God's eyes, we have all great potential, but I am telling you, some people are pushing drivers and behavior patterns that will ruin their lives. And if you marry them, and if you are not decisive and get the wrong people out of your life in friends or dating relationships, you're going to be bound to them. And especially when you start having children with them, you will have a lifelong link to people who want to sink their lives.
Your happiness is important. You need to know that deep inside your mind and start acting that way. One of the bonuses of having that mindset, having that value system, is that it's going to prevent you from being suckered into a toxic relationship with a low quality woman. Because once you see that this relationship is not making you happy, you'll end it. You'll go and find something better, which is exactly what you should do. No more, oh, but it's my masculine duty, and as long as she's happy, I guess that's all that matters. No, you matter. For every woman in your life, you need to ask this question: is she making your life happier? If the answer is yes, good, great, keep going, that's fantastic. If not, move on, find something better.
Look at this quote here: smiles can deceive. And then from Jeremiah below there: cursed is the man that trusts in man and makes flesh his strength, whose heart departs from the Lord. People are in dating relationships where people are leading people clearly away from God, even though those people say they're so-called Christians. In sexual immorality, alcohol misuse, absolutely ridiculous behavior. Leave them. That is loving, and that is good and right, because your first priority is towards God. And if you have standards and leave people, hopefully in the future they will get maybe a slight idea that they should change their behavior. Being an accomplice and carrying on dating them is helping them down the drain. And just to end off, one of the biggest problems in these dating relationships, look at this quote: sex is a gift from God for a husband and a wife, not a present for your boyfriend or girlfriend. Repent and turn to Jesus. As I mentioned, one of the biggest problems why they can't leave these so-called boyfriends or girlfriends is because they are partaking in sexual sin. So the bonds are getting so strong that if the relationship breaks up, you feel broken. Stop sticking your tongue down boyfriend and girlfriend's throats. Rather go to church, grow, learn, develop yourself, and become a vital and beautiful instrument for God in these relationships. Then doing that in dating relationships, leave that for marriage. Anyone that wants to do that to you, leave them as soon as possible. God has something great for you. The devil is trying to lead you into these things and maybe has already blinded your girlfriend and boyfriend to lead both of you down the drain.